The reaction of the Pakistani and Indian governments to the Pathankot attack was a very mature one, and I think this points the way to the future. Terrorist groups are going to be active in Pakistan and India for a very long time to come, because they grow in situations where there is poverty, where there is propaganda, and where there are dangerous people who incite violence. Recognizing this, the two states need to understand that after all, these are risks that will always be there, but that this should not be allowed to escalate into a situation of conflict, because that conflict then can become more and more serious and perhaps very soon end in nuclear war. So, terrorist groups want to disturb peace. They want to destroy peace and the possibilities of that between the two countries. They must be opposed by the citizens and the states. The two countries have wasted enormous amounts of resources by making nuclear weapons, by pursuing advanced weaponry, and this is a completely futile and wasteful effort. Instead, what we need to do is focus upon our daily needs, upon creating jobs, making schools, hospitals, giving an environment that is suitable for people to live in. I have seen how desperate people are, particularly those who live on both sides of railway tracks. They are living in just abominable conditions. And the same is true for Pakistan, where you have vast shanty towns within cities. So this is where our two countries need to concentrate their resources upon. It is a matter of fact that Pakistan has lost more soldiers to terrorist attacks from the Taliban, from the various terrorist groups, not Jaish-e-Mohammed, not Lashkar-e-Taiba, but other terrorist groups like Harkatul Islam, for example. And now Daesh is emerging as an even greater threat. Compared, if we compare the number of casualties of Pakistani soldiers, that is far greater, those who have fallen to terrorism, as compared to those who died fighting India. So Pakistan now has to get its priorities right and know that the enemy lies within. Religious freedom in Pakistan is not as bad as in Saudi Arabia, but it is by no means good. I see that minority groups are not feeling safe, and this is an unfortunate fact that now I see in India as well. In India, it is not as bad as in Pakistan, but increasingly I see that Muslims and Christians are feeling that they are being targeted by the majority groups. This is very bad. India to us was a model which we could only aspire towards. But now with the growth of religious forces, maybe you will become like us unless you fight it. I hope he does not get bail. I hope he does not get released. I hope that the madrasas remain closed down. And I can say the same thing about Lashkar-e-Taiba. I think that these groups are terrorist groups that are hurtful to Pakistan's national interests and of course hurtful to India as well. They are groups that will over time be closed down. I am fairly sure of that. Maybe not in the next month or the next year or the next 2 years, but they have no future in Pakistan. There are now a growing number of Pakistanis who think that Hafiz Saeed and people like him, Masood Azhar included, but not just him, others too, should be de-weaponized, and that they should not be allowed to operate, because now Pakistan has seen the consequences of terrorism for now many years. Earlier on, there was a state of denial where we said, oh, these terrorists are coming across from India. It is India which is seeking to harm us. But that notion has disappeared. And especially after the army public school attack, where those who killed those young people acknowledged themselves as being Muslims and required the children to say the kalma before they were killed. I want to convey that the making of nuclear weapons has not brought peace to the Indian subcontinent, that this action which was initiated by India has now spiraled upwards, that in this age the making of atomic weapons has become simpler and simpler, and that over time both India and Pakistan will have the capacity to make very large number of nuclear weapons. However, this is the wrong way to go, because nuclear weapons can be used accidentally or by design, and if one is used, then two will be used, and then all of them will be used, leading to our complete and total destruction. So we must abolish nuclear weapons on this part of the earth. It's a fact that Pakistan is making tactical nuclear weapons, India is making strategic nuclear weapons, which are hydrogen bombs, and those hydrogen bombs are city busters. They are much more destructive than tactical nuclear weapons, and their use would be many times more destructive than tactical nuclear weapons.
Sir,
what I'm saying is that the smaller the nuclear weapon, the greater the chance that it will be used, and hence we should not have small nuclear weapons. Also, we should not have large nuclear weapons. I am opposed to the use of religion in politics. Certainly, Mr. Jinnah did use religion in politics, but then let's recognize that Mahatma Gandhi brought religion into politics, and that was, I think, the beginning of our slide downwards towards communalism. Although I must also say that the Mahatma did his best to stop the slaughter of Muslims in places like Noakhali in Bihar and so forth, for which he is greatly respected, and rightly so. But in every case, I think we should keep religion away from politics.